guys, what's up? This is Jared from the Photographic Collective podcast. I'm here with my buddy Miles, and we are interviewing Staci Brucks today. She's a photographer based out of Kansas, Wichita, Kansas to be exact. And we are having an amazing conversation with her today. Miles, give us a snapshot.
Hey, you guys are going to love Staci. So she is all things like bubbles and glitter, but it's all authentic. The cool thing that I found from Staci just right out the gate is that her whole story, which by the way, her photography is unbelievable, but her whole story is only 5 years old. She's only held a camera
just
for
crazy.
Yeah, wild. And so to see the way that she has integrated her life before becoming a photographer, this wild just jump into deciding that photography was going to be her like passion and then her profession. And now following along that journey to, like 150,000 followers on Instagram and just this meteoric rise. It's really a cool conversation. So you guys jump over with us. I think you're going to enjoy every little piece of this chat with Staci Brucks. You first though, catch us up on life. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. I feel like I had this last weekend off and then also next weekend off. So
Okay.
to kind of like jumpstart myself before fall weddings kind of start going. But yeah, it's been a busy, great year and I can't complain. So it's been really good.
Are you traveling quite a bit right now, or are you mostly close to home?
Both.
Wichita, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Most
cool.
people say like it's funny that when they're like, "Where's Wichita?" I'm like, "Kansas City. We'll just go from there." So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I'm
lied to us
located.
in New York. You said you were in
No,
Kansas City.
no.
She did.
Typically when
You're a
people
liar.
typically when people go, "Where's Wichita?" Kansas, like they always assume Kansas City with Kansas, and so I'm just like, "Yep, that'll do it." But I do shoot a lot in Kansas City, so. And it's funny that people that have inquired with me, we like talk through it and they're like, wait, you're based in Wichita? And I'm like, that's a good thing. I love the market up in Kansas City. So, and Wichita is great too. But, yeah, I count my local weddings as Wichita and Kansas City.
Yeah,
So
Nice.
okay.
I kind of float between, but yeah, I do a lot of travel, but also, the weddings that you can drive 10, 15 minutes away and then be back home in your own bed right
Yes.
shortly after the wedding. Those are
Y-
really, really nice. So
Yes, they
I try
are.
to I try to balance. I mean, I don't even know the percentage, not really 50-50, but I feel like that's where I'm headed. Just because I do love like the 2.5 day trip sometimes that fly Friday, you're back Sunday, go on a little adventure. It's kind of fun. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
There is.
oh yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
no. I was gonna say there is something really magical though about those weddings where you're home that night.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yes.
Um,
totally.
I agree.
it's underrated. I think like most of our listeners are probably a little bit like maybe on their come up story still, right? And so they're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, if only someone would book me to go to the Poconos. And you're like,
Yep, yep, yep.
you haven't lived until you've shared a hotel room with Jared in a romantic cabin in Vermont,
Yeah. Or
That
the
sounds like a
fertility
core
suite.
memory for you.
It was
We
an
have some
example.
stories to tell.
I bet. I know.
Just can't tell it on this podcast, but yeah.
Yeah, I have to
I
click the whole kids can listen to this
Yeah,
episode.
explicit
yes.
content. Oh,
I get
geez.
asked so much about travel too, and just like, oh, how do you get into that? Like, and that sort of stuff, which is so great. But like, and I truly say everything I talk about with travel weddings, I'm so grateful to have like just got thrown into them pretty quickly. And I had a traveling job even before photography. So I just solo traveled quite a bit. And it's just,
Okay.
I get it. But yeah, it is once you're in the heat of getting a lot of destination weddings and you're like, okay, a local one would be kind of nice, but that's why I really try to be mindful of like my yearly calendar and just spread out and not do a little back to back to back because I just love to give my couples, that 110% of me. So
Uh-huh.
it's I never want to just like go into another one and be like, okay, here we go, and I just try to avoid that. So I check in all the time with myself, like, okay, how are we feeling? How was last year? How many weddings should we take this year? So, which is important.
I
Hey,
feel like
no,
oh,
go ahead, Jared.
no.
Your question's
No.
way better than mine.
No, I was
I'm
just gonna
also
say,
I feel
go
like we're all
ahead. No.
talkers, so this is gonna be great.
Yeah, it's perfect. No, I was just gonna say, I feel like traveling is really a gift. Like some people are really good at it, and some people are not so good at it. And so it sounds like you've had a lot of experience in it and you're probably really good at it. What do you think? What are some of the hard truths, though, about destination wedding photography that people listening? I mean, it just seems, me and Miles talk about this all the time. Like, travel is so romantic. Like, it sounds so awesome, like in the wedding industry of like shooting destination stuff. But Staci, share with us, what are some of the hard truths that you could share about destination wedding
Okay,
photography?
I got one right off the top of my head that
Okay, what is it?
came to me. It is, don't check bags. You can't really take a lot of clothes and extra things. So, if that means doing laundry in the sink in the hotel room, like
Nice.
I try so hard not to check a bag just
Okay.
because I feel so safe with everything with me. And so my last actually 2 trips, my husband didn't come with me just because when I go to Denver, it's just a quick, easy, direct
Yeah.
flight. So I have to strategically pack everything into like my camera bag and then the rest in like a carry-on suitcase. And that includes, I know we talked about the like tripods and everything. So I'm
Yeah.
getting a whole new like rundown of, okay, how can I travel with all the tripods, all the lights, all my gear and not check a bag?
Ooh,
Just
I
Okay.
because
have
it
a
makes me
solution
feel
for
safe.
you.
Yes,
We're gonna
please tell
save
me.
this for the ad. No way. I'm not giving it to everyone for free.
Oh, true.
I'll send you. I am going to send you a link, actually. But yeah, genuinely, Spider Clamp has totally changed the way that we're doing work, and it looks so much
Yeah.
cleaner. But anyway, I'll get there. So,
I would say,
um,
not packing very much clothes.
can I tell you how
I'm like,
cool it is that I met
Overrated.
you? I met you playing downtown influencer vibes with Lauren Ashley. Did you see her Instagram story the other day? Yeah, you can bury your head. You were doing it.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
It was
yeah,
like
It
I
it was
know,
like
happened.
I
people
know.
in New York meets influencers in the wild. But anyway,
Not the
um,
ones that you just kind of, ignore. It's the, oh my God, like, what are they
oh
doing?
my
What are they
gosh,
doing?
why is she
We
doing that?
I
we
Anyway,
know.
just stood back and watched.
we
Yep.
did. We tried to mimic your poses, and it just didn't come across quite as authentic. Anyway,
No.
so but genuine question, did you see, because you're talking about how you carry everything with you, did you see
Mhm.
Lauren's Instagram story the other day where she showed the bags that she was taking with her to that wedding?
Yes.
She had to
Yes.
have had 3 400-pound bags.
I saw that and I'm
Uh,
like, I could
that
fit in
plane
that suitcase.
that plane was going down.
We
There was
thought
no
you were in that
question.
suitcase.
I was like, "Oh, Stacy's second shooting. There's a
Yeah,
low
for
budget for the
sure.
second
For
shooting travel."
sure.
Okay.
Couldn't get her flight.
Yeah.
I kind of love that though, because we are, admittedly, neither Jared or I are light packers. We're really not. But also,
Yes.
I'm curious about this. Here's a hot take, listeners. Because Jared and I are in tuxedos on wedding days, there's actually quite a bit more that now if we're and if we're shooting a
True.
rehearsal dinner, right? Like I have to have a suit, a tuxedo, suit shoes, tuxedo shoes, all the accessories,
Backup.
all the stuff. Yeah, there's not I can't just like throw a cute dress in, right?
That is true. I mean,
No.
you
Yeah.
could. I mean, it might
No, he
just not,
couldn't.
fit the
It's
fit
a
the
brand
vibe of the
shift
day,
for
but
sure.
yeah, a big shift. But
Okay.
yeah, that is true. I didn't really think about that because, I can fold my clothes down pretty small, but yeah, that's one
Yes, I
thing I'm
mean,
like,
do you have it down to a science? Like, do you know? Okay. Yeah, I'm
my
excited to hear
backup
more about
plan
that.
is always, if I need to buy something, a t-shirt to make do,
Uh-huh.
to make it through the weekend, I will. But, and that's the thing too, going for such quick trips. I been to places where I've checked a bag and then I need things, and so then your bag gets lost or whatever, and then you finally get it, and I'm like, man, with such quick trips, I'd much rather, I just feel safer with my stuff with me rather than be
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
oh no, and
Yeah, it
that's the
does.
way
It
my
makes
mind
sense.
works. But
Jared
yeah,
and
as long as
I
I got my wedding day dress, that's all I care about. I'm like, everything else, I'll figure it out.
Jared and I did a wedding in a tiny little village in the kind of the western, like extreme western peninsula in Mexico, and our bags got lost a few years ago. And we got to spend an entire
You.
day together on the beach wearing.
No,
We had to go by like
no.
this
Tell
little
her
bodega.
where we went. Tell her where we went to get our
this
clothes.
little bodega that our driver was like, they have clothes. We were like, okay, cool. We just honestly just something light is chill. The only clothes that we could find were Playboy brand.
Good.
Can't make that
It's
up.
a thing.
Good.
So
Popular.
we're both walking, just two dudes walking down the beach in our Playboy t-shirts.
And they're like, their bags definitely got lost.
I hope
Maybe.
so.
I think
I
best
hope they
case
thought
scenario,
that.
people were wondering if our bags got lost.
Yeah,
Anyways.
that's
I guess
funny.
like here, shots fired here, but I guess you could go the extreme route here. And who's that? The Josh guy? What's his last name? Josh. He's like blowing up Instagram right now because he rolls
Yep.
in. He like rolls
I
in
love it.
in his hoodie. You could just not even pack another outfit for the. You just
I
travel
know.
in what you're gonna shoot in. Yeah.
Is his last name?
2.0.
Is it Huggett?
Sure.
I think it's Huggett.
Yeah, that guy.
Let's go with
Anyway, the dude. I
Yeah,
mean, no,
yeah,
like I'm not
yeah.
being
Everyone
overly
knows the
offensive
dude.
here. He's
Yeah.
like he's the guy that he's like I just shoot in what I sleep in, and it's fine. If you don't
Yep.
like it, don't buy it. Don't hire me. There's like 7 F-bombs in that sentence, by the way.
I know.
Okay, so let's get to good stuff. So hey, you mentioned, I'm curious because I don't know enough about you. So you mentioned like there was a life before photography where you traveled. What was that?
So, I won't bore you with too much of my backstory, but
I wanna hear
I
it.
have 2 degrees in exercise science.
Oh.
And I have a bachelor's and master's, and worked at our big medical center here in Wichita, Kansas for about 5 years, in cardiac rehab as an exercise physiologist. So that was what I went to school for. I kind of wanted to go the route of PT, and then I was like, ooh, too much math. I suck at math. So then I was like, ooh, OT. And then it kind of just like kept going, and I landed in cardiac rehab because I interned at the hospital and really found that I loved it. And truly, like in a job, all I want is to impact one person a day. And it's cool because, you do that in photography, but still, like I loved my job so much, but there was just something missing about, and it was probably because I went to the same department. I worked 312, so went to the same, department, no windows, no adventure vibes, no nothing. So maybe that was like the part where I was like, I need outside air to function.
Yeah.
But yeah, so worked about 5 years, and then it's kind of crazy, but right before COVID hit, not that none of us knew COVID was going to happen, November 2019, I got this realization that, oh, I can do photography. Was I that great? What did I know what I was doing? Absolutely not. But I stepped away, and then COVID hit, and I was like, oh crud, because my husband and I started our own businesses around the same time. So he owns his own insurance business. And we were like, okay, it'll be fine. Like, we're go-getters, super motivated and driven. We're like, okay, so how are we going to make money? And we already, as you know, it was tough for everybody, but I just started doing little sort of things that took me into, I did porch shoots. I, drove to people's porch and did stuff for like 30, $35 and what I could do. But yeah, and then that kind of like propelled, I know I'm kind of like jumping forward,
No, that's
but
good.
that's how I got thrown into photography. And then I just never looked back at the hospital. But yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago, but it's kind of cool just to say that once I left, even though times were really tough for everybody and it was unknown all over the place, I just truly never looked back once and wished I was still at the hospital. So
Wow.
kind of crazy.
All of that makes so much sense to me with you. I feel like you just connected, for anybody that has ever even met you. You just connected because like sitting with you, you do, number one, you absolutely put off like intellectual vibes. You really do. You come across as very intelligent. Well, and a lot of people
Write
like
that
we
down. Wow.
Yeah, if I had a
that was
time
the
for every
biggest
time I heard
we,
that.
but we talk with a lot of
Right.
people that are like hyper creative, right? And and that is like that's their gift. That's but like but you really do come across as like as like an intellectual. But then you also like, I've got a t-shirt for you. You're a happy hustler. Like you totally
Happy
are.
hustler.
There it is. But you totally do. Like you shocked me in New York. Some of the conversations that we had where you were so humble, but you were working. Every room that we walked into, every time I turned around, we were at like a different event, and Jared and I are kind of like wandering around like, what are we doing here? And I'd look across and like, there is Staci putting in work. Like everyone, there is work being done.
Yes.
And like, I want to know where, does that all just come naturally for you? Or is that like a skill set that you have had to really massage?
I would say it's come to me just because I've always been a people person,
Hmm.
things that I've thrown myself into. I also never answered your question about the traveling, which that was totally separate.
Oh, you
So,
didn't? Okay.
no, I didn't. Because I'm like thinking about these things. But okay, anyways, take it back a few times and we'll go forward. At the hospital, when I was interning, I wasn't making money. And I had a friend that danced at one of our D1 colleges here. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like the traveling dance competitions that you can put your
Oh
kids
yeah.
in. I was never a dancer,
Okay.
never danced a day in my life, but she knew, she goes, well, you're not making money doing interning. She goes, do you want to travel? You're working Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 6. Like it was a set every week. You would fly Friday, work pretty much maybe Friday, Saturday, and fly back Sunday. And then I'd be back at work at the hospital Monday. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I got to make money somehow.
Wait,
And
as a
so
dancer?
that's no, okay,
Oh,
let
I
me
was gonna say,
clarify.
prove it.
Let me,
Prove it. Push your camera back. Let's
no, no,
go.
no, no, no.
Okay,
So
never mind.
I basically sold, like, if you go to these competitions, whether you've seen them or been to one, you always have that person where you either sign in or you buy programs, t-shirts, random stuff. That was me. So I would run the booth and like sell programs, t-shirts to people, and then I would get coffee for my whole staff. I'd cater in the lunch, dinner, like all the foods. And I just would go to a new city every single weekend from roughly January till about May, June. And then June, July was like nationals for them. But yeah, I that fueled my traveling like crazy because it would be like again the 2.5 day trips, and I just go to a city, maybe have time to explore. But I remember one time we went to Chicago, and the only time to see the city was about 1 a.m. And then our flight, we had to be there in the morning at like 3, 4 a.m. So we're like, let's do it. We're not sleeping. And so it's just like the hustle and grind of trying to like travel, go see things, come back home, and then reset and then travel again. I did that for about years, I believe. And I didn't travel every weekend. It just kind of where they placed me at, how it fit into my schedule. And as I worked longer for the company, then I can kind of be put on bigger cities and different stuff like that. So that fueled my traveling. And then obviously, as I shifted into other things, had to slow back on traveling, and then I worked full time at the hospital. But then that's when photography came about, and then I learned on YouTube. So
Okay.
I knew I had zero background in photography, knew absolutely nothing. I never thought I was creative. I never thought I was artsy. Um, and so that's the crazy part when I sit here and I'm like, what am I doing for my job? It's absolutely insane because when people were like, "What are your hobbies? What do you like?" And I'm like, "I don't know, exercise, health, uh, things like that." I mean, obviously, like being active, but then that plays into a lot of things on how it shaped me today, just because
Mm.
of my background in education and just the go, 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 work hard, nothing will get handed to you. You got to put in the work, that sort of thing. So, um, yeah. And then, just learning how to run a business, that's in itself like, hustle and grind, and you got to be on top of yourself. I don't know. So it's wild.
That's pretty
Mm.
cool though. I mean,
It's
I mean,
crazy.
this is new. I haven't heard that foundational story. So I mean, you've been at this for 5 years.
5.5
Yeah.
full
Okay.
time.
Don't
Well, I
short me.
really just
Yeah.
honestly, I threw myself into photography and
Uh-huh.
didn't do anything else. And I was like, I'll figure it out. And because I'm the kind of person, I'll step off the cliff, figure it out, and
You're a
sink or
go-getter.
swim. And if you know, I have to know if I'm going to succeed. But if not, I got backup plan. I left the hospital on good terms. I could go back if
Uh-huh.
photography didn't work out, or I could sell candles on the side of the road. Whatever, I'll figure it out.
Okay, so here we
Miles
go.
is over there
Because
just
you're
like,
getting there.
what
Let's get some
No,
candles
looks
started.
good.
Let's
happening?
I
I'm
mean,
very
we're starting to
chaotic.
connect this. No, this is working. You're actually touching. You're going to talk to a whole new set of listeners here. There's a lot of people are going to resonate with this. There is no way. Well, maybe there is a way. I feel like it's extremely unlikely that someone has had this like meteoric rise, because you truly have. Like you have gone, what I can only assume from, unless you're just like a freak of talent, but I can only assume from is like god awful photography to what you're shooting now, which is stunning work
Really great stuff.
in less
Right
time
back
than
at
it
you
takes.
guys.
Yeah, but we've been doing this for like 100 years.
Yeah.
You in like the less time than it takes for most
Seriously.
people to graduate from film school. So who has helped push you in here? There's got to be a community here. There's like, you can't be completely self-guided.
Like, who are you following on YouTube?
Nobody on
Don't
YouTube.
say John Branch.
Well, you
Okay.
said you learned a lot from
I'm
YouTube.
just
No.
kidding, John. John, I'm kidding.
Let me clarify.
Shots
So
fired.
YouTube, when I say I learned on YouTube, I learned how to work a camera from
Yeah, okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
The
So I
technical
knew,
side.
never really dove into how do you go out and do this lighting scenario and the posing and just like the different stuff. I just went out there and learned myself in this sort of. So I will say I had people that gave me great opportunities. I also reached out to people in my area to say like, "Hey, I'd love to come help you out on a wedding day." And I did that to a few people, but I didn't know the community at all.
Mm.
And so just the few people that I did from, high school that did photography, they were like, "Yeah, come to my wedding, like bring your camera if you want, you can shoot." And I'm a like I'm a visual learner, so just like
Yep.
me seeing someone do their job, I just kind of like mental note. I'm like, okay, I like how they did that. Ooh, that's really good. And I had great second shooting opportunity with an incredible girl here in Wichita that I told her she was looking for a second shooter. She had a partner, but that was their first wedding that they were doing separate. And so I went on a limb, messaged her and said, "Hey, I would be available." And she was like, "Okay, great. Like you're hired." And I go, "Okay, I just want to clarify. I don't really know what I'm doing." And she goes, "That's okay. That's okay."
Details.
Honest.
Yeah, that's
She goes,
awesome.
"That's okay." And so I remember being at that wedding with her and she had me do some of the groom photos. And I remember I was in a room by a window with all the lights off. And I was like, I don't know how to shoot photos like this because I didn't know how to work my camera that so I took a few and I just told the groom, I was like, "Hey," and again, it's the people, like, I just know how to act confident, but know that it's like, I gotta figure something else out, but I'm like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah.
I'll be right back." So I went to her, showed her some of my photos, and I was like, "I just have to be honest with you because again, this is someone's most important day. I
Yeah.
don't want her to get these photos back at the room and be like, like I just botched it." So she kind of tweaked some stuff. She goes, "Hey, try these settings, tweak this a little bit when you have him in front of the window," and just gave me a crash course right there. And I'm a really quick learner when it comes to that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay. So I went back in, did some, and I came back out later and showed her. She goes, "Those are great." And I was like, okay, that was good. But I think that's where I'm not afraid to say, "Hey, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
how does this look?" I asked a ton of questions. I still ask questions all the time. I'm very curious. And I've been told that by people too. They're like, "You're just a very curious person." And I said, "Yeah, because I constantly want to grow. I constantly want to learn." And so again, just going back to that question, I've had a lot of great people kind of just give me those great opportunities right off the bat. And I found, as cliche as this is, I found a passion I never knew I had, and I just head straight into it.
That's
So,
awesome.
but the big part of the beginning was when I got my camera, I had my golden retriever. She was like 4 months or so, and I'd practice on her in the backyard. She would be running all over the place, and I'm like, "Okay, how do I get a clear picture?" I'm like, she won't sit
If
still."
you can shoot a dog, then you can shoot
Right.
people.
Yeah.
And so she was my test subject, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, all these are blurry. Okay, I gotta figure this out, tweak the settings." Because I told myself, learning on a camera, I said, "If you're gonna be professional," I said, "don't even touch auto. You're gonna learn on manual and just go from there." So I didn't even touch any of the settings, and I said, I will figure this out. So I learned on my dog, and then when the photos started becoming a little bit better, I was posting them on Facebook, and then people were messaging me, "Oh my gosh, these are so good. Will you take our family photos?" And I'm like, "Sure," because I'm like,
It
"Why
all
not?"
starts with a dog.
Right. And so then people were asking me how much you charge for this, that, and this. And I was Googling. I remember I was like, "How much do you charge for a session?" And I was just telling people $20 Starbucks gift card, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
And it just, oh, frozen. There he
Yeah, I
is.
think he's back.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were just like lost in the conversation.
No, he is lost in the conversation. Hey, let me stop you right there because I have thoughts. For one thing, I think curiosity is another gift and a really great thing. I think we all need to have, some sort of curiosity through our careers. And I've heard people talk about being forever learners. Like, I always want to be someone who's not above learning. And I think every time we
Absolutely.
shoot, me and Miles, we learn something new. And it's fun to even learn from each other. There, how long did it take you? So you're watching all these people, everybody's doing kind of different stuff, you're learning things. Like, how long did it take you to find like your voice? Like, to say, these are things I love, these are things I don't love. This is who I'm going to be. Like, how long did that take you in that journey as you started?
Honestly, probably about a year and a half. So it's
It's
pretty
like just a
quick.
confidence thing, being like confident enough to be like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this is gonna be my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found out, well, and even going back to the COVID year is that was my first year when COVID was
It's
happening,
unbelievable.
and
Wow.
I I remember a few people reached out to me because their photographer, just because of all the rules, everything going on, they weren't comfortable shooting weddings. So then they came to me and they were like, "Hey, my photographer's not shooting. Will you shoot my wedding?" That to me, I was like, this is an
Wow.
opportunity. So I said,
Wow.
"Okay, like I'll be safe," but I was like, I don't know what's happening. And that's how I got my first weddings because I didn't really have a first full year of really any I had one, and that was a friend's wedding. And then it just kind of like dominoed effect. And then I kind of took, I did seniors, I did families, I did, that sort of thing. And then quickly just found out that I was gravitating towards couples and weddings. And now it just, I brand myself like couples, weddings, and branding because I love the branding side of stuff. Headshots are easy, but I like the headshots with helping people grow
Yeah.
their business
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
No,
So,
that's super
what is
cool.
your genuine thought? Like, I'm really curious right now. There's just so many educators out there right now that are like almost pushing the exact opposite of the story that you just said. And like this again, you guys, this isn't like I'm not just trying to take jabs at the community in this one episode. The John Branch thing was a joke, everyone. He's a friend. But but I really am curious. What I just heard you say was you took something that felt natural and that you developed a
Mhm,
really quick passion for it and you just worked hard.
mhm,
That kind of goes completely against the like 12 steps to your first six figures
mhm.
thing. So how is it then for you now being somebody that photographers look up to, like, and we do, how do you feel on the other end of that, having to now articulate the fact that you're like, I mean, that's not how I did it.
So I mean, I'm big on, finding what works for you because a lot of people will ask me my opinions on things. And I always say, I am an open book. I will tell you what I do. This is what works for me. But then some people just will try to do what other people say and it just isn't clicking or any isn't working out. So I always tell people, I'm like, hey, this is what I do, but you will also find out as you go easy for you, what works for you, that sort of thing. And so I know with the social media, that's the biggest question I get asked all the time is social media and everything. And there's no secret, there's no nothing. I do all my social media by myself. I know you kind of messaged me a little bit earlier, but I don't plan anything, which is people find that absolutely crazy. But I have been consistent from day one. And I
Mm,
think that is one thing where, if anything in life, like you're going to get good at something if you're consistent.
mm,
And I just found, again, a passion I never knew I had, and I'm like, consistency is key. And I know that's so cliche to say, but it is, I post pretty much every day, whether it's on my story or not on my story, but at least a reel a day. And it just, I put -1 brain cells into what I post, and it's just authentic to me. It's easy. I just scroll, I find an audio, I'm like, oh, there it is, and just post. And I think that that's what a lot of people have trouble with either running a social media based business or just a business in general is putting too much thought into things, which is great. You need to think about things and have a strategy and all sort of things, certain stuff. But when you think about things too much, you just psych yourself out, and then you'll either not post or you'll not do it because you're like, I want a different cap. That's not good enough. And I just think it's like, I'm just showing up. I'm showing up every day. I'm
Mm,
showing myself. And I can't remember the question that you
that's okay. I have a new
No.
one for you. I have a better one for you.
Okay.
What's your advice then? Because we sit on the other end of the microphone and coffee and just like connection with a lot of people that have like a paralyzing creative atrophy. Like
Hmm.
they cannot do what you just said. And they just live inside insecurity and inside like imposter syndrome and inside like, and
Hmm.
that hole digs deep, right? And once you start saying like, yes, but so and so is better than me, you start realizing everyone is better than me. So what's your advice to somebody? It sounds like you just never went down that hole. How would you encourage people to get either outside of or above or just beyond those insecurities so that they can start showing up as who they are?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things I can say about this, but obviously it's who you surround yourself with. I have a lot of great people around me that also just are really positive, really go-getters, like hard workers, and I think that plays a lot into how I am too, and just, my parents and growing up and just, again, I surround myself with positivity constantly and just know that it's not that serious. And for me, maybe it's just my path and my journey, not, going to school for art or thinking I'm an artist or creativity. I think that that's where I have a little bit of a disconnect between that. And I just don't like I don't know the way to say it, but I just feel like I don't get so down on myself. And now in
Mm-hmm.
the beginning, yes, I remember scrolling on social media, seeing people that stood out to me like, "Holy cow, how are they so good? How are they so talented?" I remember that. And I'm like, "Man, I'm not gonna say I haven't had thoughts, man, they are so good. How I don't think I'll ever be that good or whatever." But it's not necessarily that. It's also just finding what you like and it doesn't matter about anybody else. I post what I post because it makes me happy. And
Mm,
I think that that's where in the beginning, I'm like, I have this photo, I have this gallery, whatever. I'm going to post because I'm proud of my work. I'm proud of what I do. And I want people to see it.
mm,
And that's where my mind I don't get so caught up in, "Oh, I wish I would have done that different." There is the poses where I'm like, "Dang, I had so many things I wanted to do, but didn't get to execute everything." I just think I'm like, "Ooh, these are really pretty, and I just want the world to see because I'm proud of it." And I
mm,
think that's where people struggle with thinking and criticizing their own work way too much, where it's like, no, 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 if it makes you happy and you're proud of it, like put it out there. And the biggest thing I do is I always say, I'm like, I put my little blinders on and I focus what's right in front of me. And if it makes me happy, that's all that matters. And so I do, like, I'll scroll for inspiration, support my friends and everything, but I don't scroll just to like say, "Oh, man, I wish I could go to that place," or "I wish I could do that." It's like, you can. You can though. Like, there's no limitations. It's who you surround yourself with. You gotta get out there and network. You gotta meet the people. You gotta talk, it's just like putting yourself out there and, I'm always uncomfortable in a good way, and because I just know that I'm growing in so many different areas by saying yes to things that make me uncomfortable.
That's awesome. Jeez, Stace, inspiring. It did
I
make me.
just love I love what I do so much,
Yeah,
and
obviously.
I'm so grateful that this gift landed in my lap that I never knew I had, and
mm,
I ran with it, and I'm truly so grateful because I never thought my life could look like this or I could contribute, financially to my family. Like, it's just there's so many things about it where it's just so stinking cool.
mm.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you're
No, I love it.
awesome. I you're doing some cool stuff though, and I'm gonna call you out on a few things because
Go
I want
for
to
it.
point them out. So you've got a really considering the fact that you just told us you have a very kind of unplugged view of marketing. You've got a really interesting view of marketing, meaning You guys, when you click over in a little while to see Staci on Instagram, if you haven't already followed her, you're like one of the last people left. But go ahead and follow her, and you're gonna see what's really interesting is the way she makes you feel as though you're in the driver's seat with the camera is really interesting. So the way that you stack your meta glasses and then shoot the camera with the phone, it's not first person, it's actually third person user generated content. It's UGC, but it's third person. It's kind of brilliant, to be honest. It took me a while before I realized. I was like, why is that so weird? I'm like, wait, that's the phone, but I'm not seeing what's coming through the phone. I'm seeing what's coming through her meta glasses and the phone. So brilliant, honestly, like really brilliant. There's no question there other than just you're awesome. The question I have for you is that you click the shutter roughly 3.5 billion times per reel.
Man, she must shoot a Nikon.
It is a Nikon.
Nikon's
There is only Nikon for this girl. So just a workflow question, like from a practical standpoint. Okay, so your marketing is great. Your self-awareness is actually really inspiring and super beautiful. Your work
Agreed.
is incredible. The actual photography, which that for me is the single biggest deciding factor to who we have on this podcast, because this is the Photo Co podcast. We're not sitting with influencers. If the work's not good, we're no thanks. But your work is unbelievable.
It's really good.
How in the heck do you process all 17.4 billion photos?
Okay, let me just clarify. You know what's funny? There's so many things about the Ray-Bans meta glasses that make me laugh. What people see and what you don't see, okay? So, clips that I'm taking on the wedding day. I also you know how you just slowly incorporate things into your business and then it just becomes like you're not even thinking about it? Well, that's what I did with the meta glasses. So at first, I never want to take them. I never wanted to take away from my couple's moments or anything, whether it's just a random session or anything, because I need content. Like that
Yeah,
is not
sure.
the purpose
Yeah,
of
of
what
course.
I do. And so it's funny, instead of just letting them run, like, because they can take up to like 3-minute long videos, I just do little clips here and there. So, like, I'll put them on and I just do like less than 10 seconds, right? And then I'll put them up on my head. So I know when I'm taking these little clips and I don't talk to them because they're voice activated, but I'll just click the button on the side to get the little clips.
It's
So people
crazy.
always drill me for their like, oh my gosh, like how long does it take you to go through all these photos? I'm like, listen, this is a 5-second clip
Oh, you're doing it for okay.
of
I
a
got
whole
you.
day. But it's the moment where I've learned what moments necessary. And I take little clips here and there all throughout the wedding day. Only use the ones that really stand out to me or really showcase the fact that I'm posing somebody or the way I
Yeah.
talk to my clients, because
Yeah.
that's been another thing. I've gotten people where they're like, I love the way you pose and talk to your clients and just move them. And that is a whole nother marketing thing that I never saw even coming, just because of, they're actually able to hear my voice in real time and just how I talk and all that sort of stuff. So the little clips make it look like I take probably 30,000 photos on a wedding day, and people are probably like, "Does she ever put her camera down? Does she ever take her finger off the trigger?" But it's just for that little video, and it's because of the moment that I'm
Yeah.
capturing on the
Okay.
glasses that make it.
Cool.
Because I mean, if you think about it, I just posted one this morning, like first look with dad. So yeah, I'm gonna get those moments that are a little bit
Oh, I love
faster,
it.
and also the kiss, the walk down the aisle. That sort of thing. So those are moments where you are clicking faster. But I don't think
You
I've
have to
ever said that because, yeah, people think I'm a psychopath
You have
behind the
to
camera.
remember that Jared and I are medium format shooters. And so if I were to try and press the button that much, I think the shutter would fly out of the side of my camera.
Yeah. Well, and I
It
tried
just overheats.
on the new Nikon camera. I think there's like extra crazy high speed. And I was like, I tried that and I was like, absolutely not. Like people
Yeah.
don't think when people ask me how many photos I take on a wedding day, I'm usually sitting at like 6,000 little.
Okay.
I typically will be like under 6 to 7. And so I'm not as crazy as
Yeah.
my videos make me look.
Yeah,
but it's just the
I mean,
moment.
maybe you are, but just actually not with
Yeah.
the Shutter situation. Hey, follow-up question. When do you think you've got quite the influence? When do you think that Meta is going to release glasses that don't look ridiculous on me?
Well, that's a good question because
Mm.
I have an affiliate code with them, but I
Yeah,
still am
she
Yeah.
like,
does.
all right, Ray-Bans, where are you
It'll be
at?
down
Like
in the description.
I've been out here from the beginning trying to
Okay.
push. But yeah, that's a good question. Because
Yeah.
I
Well,
also have the first ones they ever released. And so they were just like the unisex version, and that's what I have. So I don't even they're like so much cooler now.
we're gonna put that
That's a
affiliate code
good
in the show
question.
notes for you
Yeah.
guys, and I need you to send a selfie to me on Instagram with your new Ray-Bans so that we can all look dumb together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I've seen you in them though. I think you look awesome in
Yeah.
them. I just look
I
really
mean,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, some people
I
pull
just
them
look
off.
really dumb in glasses.
no, you do.
So
I'm
it's
just
okay.
like, again, I
Stacy and
think the
Alex.
biggest the biggest way where the way I run my business is I'm confident in who I am. So when I show up, I'm just like, "Hey, it is me. This is me doing my job. I love what I do, and I don't care if these are so thick." I've had people ask me too. They go, glass like, do you need them to see like, because they don't know that they're recording video because I keep taking them off,
Mhm.
and I was like, "No, I have contacts, like, I can see. These are record video."
Yeah.
But it's crazy that I've also had people, say they're like, "Hey, did you bring" like, on engagement shoots or smaller shoots, they're like, "Hey, did you bring your glasses?" And I'm like, "I did." And they're like, they've
Nice.
requested to be in videos, and I think it's
That's
absolutely
fantastic.
wild because my hands it's like it's 100% marketing for me, but my
Mhm.
couples tend to share them on their story, even though
Yeah.
it's my hand. So it's all around just easy marketing. And I will say I've
Okay.
never paid for marketing since I've started, which is crazy because social media has done it all for me.
Dude, did we literally just have to kick her out of the room? Did you just
We
kick
had
her
to
out?
kick her out of the room. We could have talked for hours, and we don't got hours.
I feel like if there was an ejection seat in a podcast studio, you just pressed the red button. You just
Like the
shot
little-
Stacy through the ceiling. Dude, that
Nah,
girl
she
is
was
so
wonderful.
freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
Very
a lot of times that
authentic.
we talk to people, Jared, and you feel like everybody, I mean, a lot of our guests, we have busy schedules. So do you and I. We've got busy schedules. That felt like Stacy had just like taken the day to hang out with us.
Yeah, which is really nice and really sweet of her to make time for the podcast, make time for just the aftercast and just sharing really just how, I mean, she's such an open book, which is really refreshing. And she told us that she was going to be that way, and she delivered.
Yeah.
So
no kidding.
that's one word that stands out to me is I feel like Stacy is very authentic. Um, and I thought it was super cool to hear. We didn't really get to hear much of her pre-story, like before photography, but she gave us a little snapshot. But hearing that, it made me think like, wow, like she has had experiences pre-photography that have shaped her photography now.
Mhm.
And so, like, as she talked about her work in the hospital and helping do rehab with people, you can like just see it in the way that she talks
Yeah.
about people and how. And you can see it online too, like everywhere, about her authentic connection with her clients. And I just would argue that, hey, I think all the stuff that you experienced before you even got into photography is shaped the way that you connect with people, and it is making you a very successful photographer. What did you think about that?
Man, the moment, I think I even said it during our chat where I was like, all of a sudden, everything makes sense. Right. Like
Yeah,
even
you
getting
said that,
to
yeah.
sit with her and in New York and getting to know her just a little bit. And then that whole conversation, I'm like, yes, you love people at like a core level.
Yeah.
And the camera has become a tool through which you get to do that.
Mm.
But you just freaking love people. Like she just is like I get the feeling that that's a friendship that once you solidify, like once you're in, you are Staci
She's dependable.
Brucks' friend, and there's like an
Yeah.
identity to that.
Well, it was funny, even in that authenticity, we got to hear some of her social media stuff and like how she thinks through things. Like even that was authentic.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, a lot of times like you're doing all these reels and like you're trying to get all this BTS stuff, but
Yeah.
like her BTS stuff is like authentic. Like she's not
Yep.
really putting a ton of like like not fake's not the right word, but like putting pre-production,
Just
like I want this
overthinking
to
it.
go this
Yeah.
way, and so I'm gonna like shape it to go that way.
Mhm.
Like she's more like I'm just flipping my glasses down, pushing record, and letting the moment happen. And
Mhm.
like this is the gold looks coming out of it, which she's gonna share more in the aftercast about that. But I think that's hilarious. Like she's very, and she said this word, consistent.
Yeah. She keeps saying that word, right? Is like consistency is key. I think what's really interesting is like this should probably give a lot of us some hope. Like Staci doesn't come across as like uh everything being pre-calculated, right? She doesn't sit down and try and figure out how she's going to manipulate the system to work for her. In fact, she actually
Yeah, that's
mentioned
good.
that in
Yeah.
the aftercast, right, where she doesn't talk about how like she's not obsessed with beating the algorithm.
Mhm.
She's just aware of who she is and where she falls inside of it. And man, not wasting your energy as a creative trying to manipulate the world around you. It
Oof.
seems like that's really paid in dividends for her.
Yeah,
So
it sounds really refreshing, and I think it's going to
Doesn't it?
be a challenge and inspiring. So I hope people will stick with us into the aftercast, because I think she shares some core things that she's doing and has done that I think that we all can kind of listen to. And as she talked into her in the beginning of the podcast, she talked about how she's watched people and learned from them. I really think that if you can join us for the aftercast, I think you're going to hear some stuff from Staci that you're going to be able to take and figure out how does that work for your workflow when it comes to social media and doing behind the scenes stuff, and put it into practice and do something really cool, I think.
Yeah, man. Hey, last thing I will tell you, and this is probably a dumb and like shameless plug,
Okay.
but genuinely, Jared, I would have paid $37 for access to that aftercast episode just because I needed to hear it. So like if you guys are kind of on the fence about joining Photoco or becoming a member, you guys, there's just so much content in there. But to have the candid conversations that we're having with these brilliant people on top of the courses, it's just really cool. I can't wait to go back, and I'm probably going to listen to this aftercast 5 or 6 times and try as hard as I can to walk into this next week allowing social media to just like not drown out reality.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for being with us. Thanks for listening to this conversation with Staci Brucks. If you haven't followed her yet, you need to do it. She's on Instagram. It's going to be her main platform. Check her out over there. But until next time.